Happy Tuesday, my friends, and welcome into the first show of 2024, and a very happy new year from everyone here at Prime Sports World. I'm your coach and host, David On Point Huffman. Right there, my coach, Mr. TJ Hopkins. On today's show, we're going to give you our Week 17 recap as we are down to the final week of the National Football League, at least the regular season, and then we get into the playoffs. TJ, welcome to the show, man. Happy Tuesday. Happy 2024, man.
Same to you.
Yeah. How was your New Year's? How was your New Year's Eve?
Oh, everything was quiet. No complaints. Brought in the New Year, did the countdown. I was at the crib chilling. Just real relaxing. Nothing exciting.
All right. The Bears honestly got a win too, so we get to celebrate the Bears. Unfortunately, the Green Bay Packers and Minnesota Vikings did not tie, so the dream of going to the Super Bowl is now over, TJ.
Your dream.
Let's talk about week number 17. Let's start first with Thursday Night Football, final Thursday Night Football game of the year. And I hope next year during Thursday Night Football they have some better games on the slate, because we only have, out of all 17 weeks, there were only like 2 that were like remotely watchable. This one.
Here's the thing. This has been the issue with Thursday Night Football since its inception, right? You cannot expect teams who play Sundays to turn around in 3 days and play another game and expect good product.
You're preaching to the choir, but
so the belly aching about, we need better Thursday night games. We're not gonna get them.
What they could do is they could always make sure whoever plays on Thursday night is like coming out of their bye.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the beginning of the season when nobody has a bye, I don't know how you necessarily do that. But swinging into this game, let's talk about it. Cleveland Browns clinch a playoff spot as they win this game 37-20. The remarkable comeback of Joe Flacco continued in this game as he threw 3 touchdowns, just that 1 interception. Trevor Siemian threw a touchdown and a pick 6 in this game. Breece Hall was good in this game again, 13 carries for 84 yards. He also had the lone receiving touchdown for the New York Jets. And David Njoku, Elijah Moore combined for 200 yards passing. Jerome Ford had 2 touchdowns in the air, and Kareem Hunt had 1 touchdown on the ground as Cleveland locks up the playoff spot. Let me ask you something else, TJ. Do you think Joe Flacco should be the comeback player of the year?
He's one of the betting favorites right now. Me personally, no, because this is like what you call like caught in the moment. Like he's only been back like a month.
I mean, he's been back 6 weeks.
Yeah, so a month and a half versus somebody like I forgot who else is it.
I mean, Baker Mayfield's another guy who could potentially up for this award.
Yeah, like when you compare what Flacco's done versus what
Baker Mayfield,
who's been here the whole season, it's unfair to Baker Mayfield, because it's like, I've been busting my ass all season. This guy comes off his couch for a month and a half, and y'all like, no, I would have to give it to somebody. Like, I would have to give it to somebody who's played all season versus someone who wasn't and then just came in. That's just me. Like I can say I probably wouldn't be surprised.
I would not have an issue if he won the award.
I'm not saying I'd have an issue. I'm just saying I wouldn't give it to him.
Also, the New York Jets released Dalvin Cook today. I don't know what that means exactly for him or the Jets.
He wasn't really much to begin with. I said, now to the game, you can clap your hands for Joe Flacco all you want. You also got to be concerned with the amount of turnovers he has in the month and a half he's been with the Cleveland Browns.
Well, he's pulling the Phillip Rivers, right? He's going to give you one every week for sure.
Right now, you can accompany that to like rain rust or whatever you want to call it. You can't turn the ball over in the playoffs. They count as double. You get because that's where all the good teams are. Like, you can't turn the ball over multiple times against Baltimore against Buffalo, against Kansas City. They'll make you pay for it at some point.
Yeah,
They'll
he's
make
over 5 games. He threw 50. He's thrown 13 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. I'm pretty sure he threw 3 interceptions in that game against the Bears.
you 2-3, and because the Bears are incompetently ran, they get conservative. He was allowed to come back, right? Like you throw 3 picks against Baltimore. It's gonna be a
I
long day.
also, I also wonder for Cleveland Browns fans, like because you probably grew up hating Joe Flacco on the Baltimore Ravens. Now you have to root for him. That's got to be a
Oh,
little weird.
yeah, absolutely. I see it on Twitter. I see it on Twitter all the time. They like, man, for years, Joe Flacco broke my heart.
Yeah.
For years, Joe Flacco broke my heart, and we have a legit Super Bowl chance because of Joe Flacco, who spent years breaking the Browns' hearts. Like, yeah, I see it on Twitter all the time. Obviously, so like you didn't know what to expect with the Cleveland Browns, right? The Deshaun Watson was playing trash, like he was trash.
He was not good even when he was
Trash.
healthy.
Right, he was trash. He was not worth. He's not showing you that he was what he's worth. The
That Deshaun
230
Watson trade
million.
might go down as one of the worst trades in the history of the league.
It is not. He's not showing that he's worth the 200 whatever million he got from them. Then DTR, Dorian Thompson Robinson, he gets hurt. Kareem Hunt, not Kareem Hunt.
PJ
Nick
Walker.
Chubb. No, Nick Chubb.
Oh.
Right, Nick Chubb gets hurt. Lose him for the season. PJ Walker got beat out by an undrafted rookie out of a college we never heard of before this season, and then gets cut. Then goes to Cleveland, can't play there. Then you like DTR gets hurt once again, and then you dust off Joe Flacco, and it's like, what are we doing? And then all of a sudden, it's holy esh. We were second in the division. We're a wild card team.
And they've had to rebuild this offensive line. I mean, Jack Conklin got injured early. Dewan Jones got injured. Cedric Willis has been injured. Like, this has been – I've been saying it since for a couple weeks. Kevin Stefanski should win Coach of the Year. Like, he's been –
by the grace of touchdown Jesus, right? You're in this thing still. On the Jets side, obviously, again, they're going into this – they're going into the offseason with the biggest caveat of all caveats. Hey, we had the guy we really wanted for 4 plays, and he tore his Achilles. Another thing, Aaron Rodgers, excuse my language here, David. Oh, I have to preface this by saying these words said are mine and mine alone. They have no affiliation with David Huffman, Israel Rivera, Christian Simpson, or nobody else that contributes to Prime Sports World. Aaron Rodgers is an asshole. I never wish ill will on a person, but if there was ever a person that deserves some ill will towards them, it's him. You go on Pat McAfee's show and you brag about how you're waiting for Epstein's list to come out and how Jimmy Kimmel is on that list. You are the scum of the earth because you're making allegations against the person with no proof. No proof whatsoever.
Man, if I was Kimmel, I would already be having my lawyers. I know you only threatened it, but I'm not letting you slander my name like that. That's crazy. Like,
and to the people who say, "Oh, Jimmy Kimmel can dish it out, but he can't take it." Jimmy Kimmel tells jokes.
Those settings are not the same. He's in a news setting, like on that Pat McAfee show, where they're presenting news, like information, like as credible sources.
As credible sources.
That whole situation is crazy to me. I'm not a fan of Aaron Rodgers, the man. He's a very good quarterback, but him outside of once you take him off the football field, once you
take the pads off and you get him in like a normal human setting, he is trash. He's scum. You see why his own brother and family despise him. They hate him, and hate is a strong word.
Moving on from this game, we spent way too much time on the Cleveland Browns and the Jets. Just moving on from this, we got one of the Saturday night Dallas Cowboys, Detroit Lions. Dallas wins this game by one of the worst officiated calls. I think, man, the NFL, if this isn't a call for making sure we have somebody overseeing the officials, nothing will. the Lions got hosed in this game, and they got lost an opportunity to basically win the NFC, be the number one seed in the NFC. They go down the field. They score
number two. They've been
well, I mean, but if they had won this game, they would have been still in contention for the number one seed. They would just have needed San Francisco to lose next week. But because of the officiating, they lose this game. Dallas walks away with a just caper, basically. 20-19, they win the game. The Lions go down the field. They score the game, winning, tying touchdown. They decide to go for two. They get the 2-point conversion. But because of a bad officiated call, they end up losing this game. I'm not even going to go through the stats. Congratulations to CeeDee Lamb, though. He now has the all-time leading reception and all-time leading yards for the history of the Dallas Cowboys, and that's quite the accomplishment.
When you consider some of the names that have played receiver for the Dallas Cowboys,
that number,
and more specifically, worn that 88. That wearing 88 for the Dallas Cowboys is the same as wearing 25 for Simeon. So just to equate it to something relatable, Simeon High School is a Chicago powerhouse. A lot of NBA talent has come and gone out of Simeon, right? The best player on the team has always worn 25. Now, the story behind that is it's in honor of Ben Wilson, who was tragically killed before his senior year, and therefore the best player has always worn 25. Derrick Rose wore 25, Jabari Parker wore 25, so on and so forth. You wear 88 for the Dallas Cowboys, that's Michael Irvin, that's Dez Bryant, that. It's some history behind that 88. Now, to what everybody really cares about. Because fuck that game. Fuck the game. Fuck the game. We all saw the call. Right? We saw the call. The NFL wasted no time. Next day, Brad Allen and that crew, you're demoted. You're not reffing any playoff games. You got Angel Hernandez. You got the NFL equivalent of Angel Hernandez. Angel Hernandez has not worked a World Series in 20 years. Why? Because he sucks. They can't fire him, but they will let him know, hey, dude, you don't ref the big games because you suck. Brad Allen, you suck. You suck. So just last night.
It's the same officiating crew that worked that Bears.
That's why I was going. So you go back to the Bears-Browns game. You miss a late hit on Justin Fields to end the half. You call a Hail Mary interception that hit the ground, an interception. You misspot Tyler Scott, which on the third to last play of the game, which prevented the Bears from going for a field goal, which is why they had to go for a Hail Mary. Not to mention Myles Garrett, and because I'm being completely unbiased here, Myles Garrett was held the entire game. He didn't call any of them. That's just one game. Then you go to the Chiefs-Packers game. You missed one of the most blatant DPI calls ever
I've ever seen.
And you don't call it. Now you get to this game. Not forget the 2-point conversion, right? You call a phantom tripping call on Peyton Hendershot.
Yeah. That what is that call? Fuck.
You call that. If you don't call that, this doesn't even happen because Dallas just runs out the clock, right? Then you get to this. So what happens is they had 3 different linemen go to Brad Allen, and in the midst of them trying to confuse the Dallas Cowboys as to who's the eligible guy reporting, they confused Brad Allen. So,
it might be the worst officiating call in the history of the league. Given the merit and the gravitas, it is the worst.
I still say the Bill Vinovich missed DPI call when the Rams and Saints.
This is a worse.
No,
I mean, because that went directly to a Super Bowl. But it's a straight up not like And the NFL now is going to have to reconsider. They're going to, because they don't really want to have to babysit their referees, right? They don't really want to have to do that. And referees don't want to have to go back and be like, oh, hey, I screwed up all these calls. I'm sorry. But the NFL is going to have to seriously consider having some sort of oversight where they're watching every single play of every single game, which they are already anyways. And if there's an officiating call that's not good or just inaccurate, they have to step in and fix this shit. Because it's getting to be a point. It's getting to be a point where people are talking more about blown calls than the actual play on the football field. And that is a problem for the league. You cannot have because you have offense, defense, and then you have the officiating crew. That one element of that cannot be a constant conversation piece where they're deciding the outcome of games.
Yeah, and it's like you always say, like like both of us say. I always say technology is too good for us to still be missing stuff and whatnot. And you always bring up how the offices have eyes everywhere, and they don't do anything. They don't intervene. They don't say anything until it's after the fact. Like how you hired with the last 2-minute report in the NBA, you literally can you say those officers can literally put in a call like, hey, we're watching this game. You called this. No, we're over you. We're overturning your call. Right? Now, I don't know why they don't do that. Maybe it's because they feel like the games would take too long or it will slow it down. But we can all agree as fans, we should never know the referees' names. We should never know who you are. The fact that we know Brad Allen, we know his name, we know what he looks like. We should never know that. Ed Hockley is he's an exception to the rule because you don't get too many swole Welsh like Ed Hockley.
Welcome to the gun show, man.
Right. Welcome to the gun show.
No matter how this works out, this is a huge win for Dallas because the Philadelphia Eagles, neither of these teams seem to want to win the NFC North or the NFC East. But this is a big win for Dallas. But yeah, only people are talking about is the Michigan officiating call. It just shouldn't be that way.
And it took and it, like you said, it takes away from what turned into a good game.
Yeah, super entertaining. Like one of the better games of the year.
Now on the flip side, Dan Campbell, I understand it's your mantra to be super aggressive. After 2 failed attempts, one where you got hosed, yes. The other one where you got lucky because Jared Goff threw a pick because Michael Parsons jumped offside. The third attempt is when you say, okay, go to OT. And
one of my real quick before we move on, one of my problems with it is the fact that there were still time. Like I get it in a walk off. Like if you're walking off, like there will not be another snap of this game. This is a walk off touchdown. We're either winning this game right now or we're losing. The Dallas Cowboys had 2 timeouts, plus they had 25 seconds left in the game. They have one of the best kickers in the NFL. Like all they had to do was gain about 30 yards with 2 timeouts.
Which is easier said than done, right?
Especially with CeeDee Lamb that you could not guard to save your life. But I would have tied up that game regardless. I mean, the officiating core really. I think Dallas would have won this game anyways. Even if they get the 2-point conversion, I think Dallas goes down the field, kicks the field goal. I think they still win the game.
That's fine.
Moving on through Saturday, let's talk about Sunday. First, we got the Buffalo Bills on a little bit of a roll here, but didn't look especially dominant against a bad Patriots team. A bad Patriots team that threw 3 picks. You still only win the game by 6 points. Josh Allen had 2 rushing touchdowns. He threw 1 pick in this game. Bailey Zappi, it was definitely not Zappi hour as he threw 3 picks in this game. He also had a rushing touchdown. So did Ezekiel Elliott. And Kevin Harris was the leading receiver for this team, and he is a running back. And on the other side, Dalton Kincaid, another strong game. This is a pretty strong rookie season for him, 4 for 87. And James Cook, leading rusher, 16 carries for 48 yards. As Buffalo escaped a little bit in this game.
Because of how New England played, I doubt there was ever any doubt in Buffalo winning this game.
Yeah.
I chopped this up to like you said, they struggled in this game. Again, divisional opponent, bro. They know each other they know each other ins and out, right? They know it out. They know their sets. They know their calls. They know the checks. They know it all. Bill Belichick is probably the smartest NFL coach ever, right? That you can't fool Bill Belichick anymore.
I mean, he's
right?
seen everything. I mean, he's not. Nothing you do is going to surprise him.
Nothing you do is going to surprise him. That being said, 15 to 30, 169 in a snowy Buffalo New England game, right? Typical. Christian has now he has dubbed Josh Allen as the new Mr. Give You One.
It's true. He does give you one usually every week, but he pairs it up by having 2 rushing touchdowns in this game.
What is it? 16 games. He's only not thrown an interception in I think 2 games. He's thrown multiple interceptions. No, it's the other way. He hasn't thrown an interception in 3 games. He's thrown more than 1 in 2 games. Other than that, he has averaged at least 1 interception for basically the season. Buffalo they're gearing up, man. I expect some kind of change to come in the offseason for them. I can say right now, if I was one of those playoff teams, I don't think I want to see Buffalo.
No, I think you're hoping that Miami beats them and they don't even make the playoffs because I don't want to see Buffalo.
I don't want to see Buffalo.
But especially if they win against Miami, they're the 2 seed.
They're the 2 seed. Crazy.
Yeah, like that's wild. But yeah, this is to chalk it up to Bill Belichick and them knowing each other pretty well. We'll talk about their matchup tomorrow.
And I think I think New England. If they haven't already, I think off-season talks have already started. I don't know what the plan is. I really don't. I think right now they're either picking second or they're picking third. They're one of those 2.
Let me take a look at that here in a second.
That being said, do you go forward with Mac Jones? Do you? I don't know what you do. I don't like. People talk about our quarterback conundrum, and to me, it's not one. We don't have
Patriots. If the season were in today, the Patriots would have the 3rd overall pick.
Third. If there was ever everybody wants to focus on our QB situation, no one wants to focus on New England's. You went from Mac Jones to Bailey Zappi, back to Mac, back to Zappi, back to Mac, back to Zappi, and you don't have an answer at all. Like you don't have any kind of answer. So I think off-season talks have already started in New England. If they haven't, they should.
I agree with you on that. Swinging into the NFC from there, we got the Chicago Bears putting the thumping on the Atlanta Falcons as they win this game by 20 points, 37-17. One of the most efficient games of Justin Fields this season, 20 of 32 and a touchdown. He also had a rushing touchdown. So did Khalil Herbert. So did Roshan Johnson. DJ Moore had a nice 159 receiving yards and a touchdown. On the other side, just a mess for the Atlanta Falcons. Tyler Heineke throws 3 picks. Desmond Ridder threw a pick. Bijan Robinson only had 75 yards rushing. Tyler Algier had a 75-yard pass attempt, and that was the leading receiver for the team as they got stomped in the snow in Chicago as this Bears defense rose to the occasion and just put a hurting on Atlanta. Bears win this game, and I think that this is more of the offseason stuff, but I think it'd be crazy to take a quarterback with that Carolina Panthers pick. I'm trading it to the highest bidder, and I'm getting future assets, and I'm continuing to build this football team around Justin Fields. I mean, he's been since he came back from injury, from that thumb injury, he's been awesome.
So this is what I was talking to a friend of mine. Shout out to J5. This is what separates the coaching staffs from the coaching staffs here, from the coaching staffs in Indy, and the coaching staffs in Houston. All right, when Anthony Richardson was playing quarterback, and CJ Stroud, when they're playing, you know what their coaching staffs did? Go ball. They didn't hamstring them in any kind of way. It's year 3 for Justin Fields, and the only reason we're asking questions about him is because Luke Getsy thought it was a good idea for him to throw 50 bubble screens those first 6 weeks of the season. Go ball, like no, let him go ball. It should also hold weight that people who actually play the game or have played the game have said Justin Fields is a baller. Like now, if he did, like it's they can also say he sucks, but they don't. They said the kid's a baller. They say he can play. Right? Cam Newton, Brandon Marshall, you gotta let this kid go. You gotta let him play.
And so another thing, so like let's say the Chicago Bears trade the first overall pick, that Carolina pick, let's say to New England,
Mm-hmm.
or the Commanders or Las Vegas, who need a quarterback real bad. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to get an additional first round pick, at least
That's right.
one from
At least
next
one.
year. So if Justin Fields if you give him one more season, if he proves that he's not the guy, you're going to have 2 first round picks next year too. And
Anyway,
I know that the quarterback class next year may not be as good as this one is, quote unquote, right? But there's going to be a guy that people think is going to be worth taking in the first round, and you
mm-hmm.
could roll the dice on a new quarterback if you want to. Then it's about securing future assets.
So
Give this kid a chance. I just
and
and I got
so
nothing else to say about Atlanta. They need a quarterback in the worst way.
like,
They do not have one on the
that,
roster.
I also think Arthur Smith is out of
Done.
there because
Yeah, me too.
you can't have the weapons that you have and underutilized. And now, don't get me wrong, some of it probably circles back to the quarterback play. There was a play in that game against the Bears where he threw to the flat. Taylor Heineke did. He threw to the flat, but if he just had just a little bit more time and he looked up, they were both wide open. Matt Collins was wide open. Kyle Pitts was wide open. Seam routes just wide open. And Taylor Heineke, it's almost like he made up his mind, like this is where I'm going with the ball. And yeah, that's that. I also find it hilarious how Falcons fans was one of the ones talking so much ish about Justin Fields being trash. Now y'all want him. That is hilarious.
Moving on from this.
No. You cannot. Not just yet. It is so funny how all the fans of the teams that need quarterbacks, right? Not all the fans of the teams you just named, Washington, Atlanta, Vegas. A year ago, Fields was trash.
I mean, the other thing, yeah, like all those teams. Remember when Lamar Jackson requested a trade, right? Like, how stupid did those teams look now? They're like, nah, we're good on Lamar Jackson. The guy's gonna win his second MVP by should be almost unanimous, but it probably won't be. But
It probably won't be, but
it should be. It should be an unanimous MVP. Let's just swing back into the AFC. We got the Las Vegas Raiders going into the house that Peyton Manning built, and the Colts pulling out the victory 23-20 as they keep their playoff hopes alive. And they're basically a win-and-in scenario next week against the Houston Texans. Whoever wins that game is guaranteed a playoff spot. They're either going to be the wild card team or they're going to be outright division winner if the Jacksonville Jaguars fall to the Tennessee Titans. Which is highly possible because I don't know what Trevor Lawrence's status is. Even if he does play, they haven't been remotely good for like a month. Aiden O'Connell, 30 of 47, 2 touchdowns. He gave them a chance. Zamir White came in and played well in this game as well. 20 of 71, 2 games back-to-back for him with pretty strong performance. And Devontae Adams, 13 catches for 126 yards. On the other side, Alec Pierce, leading receiver. Jonathan Taylor, his second game back from that injury, looked good in this one. And then Gardner Minshew threw a touchdown. He did not throw an interception. As this is a good win for the Colts.
Yeah, much needed win for the Colts. Last week you got embarrassed by the Falcons, who come to Chicago and lay the egg. First off, real quick, just back to me. I hate warm weather teams that either play in warm weather or play in the dome. They're like, oh man, it was cold. Gee, it ain't just cold for you. It's cold. Yeah. It's cold for everybody. Like, imagine the people in the stands who aren't running around generating heat. Imagine how they feel, right? Like, they're probably fucking freezing. Anyway, the big one in this one, Gardner Minshew, 0 turnovers, right? No picks, no fumbles. Yeah, no fumbles, no picks, no fumbles from Gardner Minshew. Great. He loves that, right? On the Raiders, on the what is it? What is it? 15 to 23, 224. Yes, that's what I want Gardner Minshew's numbers to be. 15 to 23. I don't want to see 40 pass attempts out of Gardner Minshew. No disrespect, right? No disrespect to Gardner
I
Minshew.
mean, a little bit of disrespect, right?
No,
like,
no, not. Okay,
like,
yeah, they're kind of.
like a one, like a 1-to-1 rush to pass ratio for Indianapolis Colts is their success, it's key to success. And if they're going to beat the Houston Texans, which we'll talk about tomorrow, they're going to need a heavy dose of Jonathan Taylor.
Big dose, and they got it this game, right? Well, and
Yeah.
this is what scouting comes down to. The Raiders have struggled stopping the run all season, right? Jonathan Taylor, 21 carries, 96 yards, 4.6 a carry. That's great. It's fine. On the Raiders side, you need a quarterback. You need a quarterback. So Vegas, give us Mad Max, give us Max Crosby, and or Devontae, and another first. You can have that first overall pick. Boom, done deal, and a future first. Yeah.
Swinging back into the NFC, we got the Los Angeles Rams, who clinched up their playoff spot. I think last week actually, so they didn't really have a lot to play for in this game, but they did play a majority of their starters. They win this game, kind of escape against the Christian Simpson's New York Football Giants. Rams 26-25. They were up big in this game. The Giants came back in the final quarter, made it interesting. Matthew Stafford, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Kyren Williams has made things interesting when it comes to the Rookie of the Year conversation. The 2 rookies from the Rams are probably going to be 1 and 2 when it comes to Offensive Rookie of the Year. Kyren Williams, 3 touchdowns. Puka Nacua, 100 yards receiving. Cooper Kupp, lone receiving touchdown for the Rams. Tyrod Taylor, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He was the leading rusher on this team. And Wan'Dale Robinson, or actually Darius Slayton, 4 for 106 and 1 touchdown. Also, if you watch the fantasy football show, Izzy, that was his sneaky and daily guy who had a monster game. So if you played him, you would have made some money. Some jelly beans.
Yeah. Okay. So I done got the FanDuel bug. Just a little bit. A little bit. I ain't hit yet. When I hit, I'll let y'all know. Trust me. Kyren Williams was actually on one of my parlays, and it hit. And also the Rams winning hit. So yeah, thank y'all both. Yeah, the offensive rookie of the year race is gonna be interesting because you got Kyren Williams, who's balled out pretty much all season, Puka Nacua, who balled out all season, and you can't forget CJ Stroud. Right?
Yeah. I mean, because if you're gonna dock CJ Stroud for missing games, I mean, Kyren Williams has only missed 4 games too.
And I think Puka Nacua maybe missed what, 2, if any. I can't hear you. You're muted. I can't hear you.
Is this better?
Yeah, you were muted.
I don't know what happened. I lost connection to my microphone somehow. But yeah, Puka Nacua, I'm pretty sure has played every game this season. I don't think he's missed any time.
I wish there was a way to.
I can figure it out right now. So hold on.
I don't think he's missed a game. So 100.
He's played all. He's got 100 catches. He's got 1,400 yards. He's got 5 touchdowns. Like
that's probably it's probably him. It's probably him, to be fair. On the flip side of back to the game.
But the thing is, so on the other side of that, right? So the Rams have been on this immense streak, 6 of the last 7 games. It didn't really start until Kyren Williams came back from IR. Like when Kyren Williams came back, he was a big part of why this offense is all starting the Rams offense again. Like that we remember with the year they went to the Super Bowl.
So
not to mention this Rams team. If I'm a playoff team and I see I'm going to potentially have to face. I don't want to see the Rams.
I don't want to see them either, bro.
Like if I'm Detroit, I'm doing whatever I can to not have to see Detroit or the Rams. I don't want to play them in the first round.
Yeah. Oh, Matt Stafford versus old team, bro.
Yeah. The narrative writes itself, man.
And your secondary has been Swiss cheese for most of the season, and you can't generate a pass rush outside of Aiden Hutchinson. Woo-wee! And you got a QB once again, you got. I just hate that a quarterback like Matt Stafford, who's going to the Hall of Fame, is just now getting his just due. it's kind of like they are amazed at some of the throws he makes. It's like, nah, dude.
Like
Matt
Matthew
Stafford,
Stafford's been this guy for
he for
a
forever.
decade, forever, 2 decades, however long
Like,
he's been in the NFL. Like,
so I was listening to First Take one morning, not one morning, one night, and Shannon Sharp went on this, like he caught himself, but he was about to say those no look passes. He's pulling the page out of. He's going to say Pat Mahomes' book. I'm like, no, bro. He was doing that way before Pat Mahomes ever stepped foot in the NFL. It just wasn't getting recognized because he was in Detroit and they were losing, right? So on this now, this is one of those situations, like you said, where if you're the Giants and instead of going for the tie, you went for two and the win. Last time I checked, 3.5 minutes is a lot of goddamn time for Matthew Stafford.
yeah, right. Funny how that works out. Yeah, the Giants got some serious decisions to make in the offseason. Let's swing into another matchup between an NFC East opponent and an NFC West opponent as the Philadelphia Eagles fumbled a really good opportunity.
I couldn't wait for this.
As they fall to the Arizona Cardinals in a game that they were up big. And they let Arizona come back in the second half and scored 29 points in the second half of this game and win this game 35-31. Kyler Murray, 25 of 31, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. James Conner had a rushing touchdown. He also had over 100 yards rushing in this game. He also had a receiving touchdown. So did Michael Carter, and so did Michael Wilson. On the other side of this, Jalen Hurts. 18 of 23, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Kenneth Gainwell also threw a pass. DeAndre Swift, 61 yards. A.J. Brown didn't get in the end zone.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns for Julio Jones and Dallas Goedert as the Eagles in the Battle of the Birds. They fumble an opportunity to lock up, the number 1 seed in the NFC. Now that they have to rely on the Washington Commanders to beat the Dallas Cowboys in order to win this division. Like good luck.
Yeah. This is why I wish Izzy was here because I need both of y'all to answer. I need both of y'all to answer for the blasphemy that y'all said the Eagles was gonna go 16-1. Y'all said it on the preview. Y'all said it. Don't deny it. Admit it. You were wrong. I said it. it.
TJ, I may have been wrong, but I wasn't wrong about the Chicago Bears.
That's no, don't do that. No. You were wrong. I told, bro, the Eagles have what, 5 losses?
Yeah, 11-5.
They should be. I swear to God, the Eagles should be 8-8.
Yeah, they should be. They should have lost both games against the Commanders. I mean, there you can go up and down their schedule. The games that the Buffalo game, they should have probably lost.
The Eagles should be 8-8, and it's Richard Sherman said it best. They got the Super Bowl hangover minus the Super Bowl. Hey, this is not the same Eagles team from last year. They don't do any one thing well anymore. They don't run the ball well, right? They don't run the ball well. They don't pass the ball well. Not anymore. Like it used to be we gonna feed AJ. We gonna get him going early. We gonna make teams single high him. That way, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, everybody else, y'all can eat. They don't do that no more. The only thing they do, bro.
I mean, AJ Brown started off the season on an absolute bender. But ever since he's kind of like fallen off a little bit. I'm not sure what's going.
You got him in the locker room saying nothing needs to be said. No comment. Really? Y'all was talking all big and bad with your chest out. Now y'all ain't playing good football. I ain't got nothing to say no more. That's not how that works. The one thing they do well is the tush push. That's it.
They do that very well.
The only thing they do well is the tush push. If you're the Cardinals, hey, first off, yeah, hats off to you. You also get a caveat this season. Why? Because you didn't have Kyler Murray for 90% of your season. It's easy to say the Cardinals suck when your best player misses the bulk of the season, right? I can't one Josh Dobbs quarterbacking them for like the game.
Yeah, he was until the trade deadline, really.
right? And like you said, like this was an Eagles team. They were up huge, 21-6. Julio Jones dusted off the Superman cape and was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
we ain't seen this Julio Jones in about 5 years." And
2 touchdowns in this game. There's more touchdowns in this game than he's had the last 2 seasons combined.
21-6 became 21-13, then it became 21 all, then it was 28-21, then it was 28 all, then it was 31-28, and then it was 35-31. And the bulk of that, like, I've never heard Eagles fans complain about play calling under Nick Sirianni. Right? It's been a long time since I've seen Eagle fans cry about play calling. For the first time in a long time, I saw on a video of an Eagles fan saying, "Fire Nick Sirianni." What?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
What?
Moving on from this game, let's talk about another blown opportunity in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they go into, or they welcome the New Orleans Saints into their house, and they lose by 10 points. And I know the final score has them only losing by 10 points, but this game was not that close. They were down by basically 20 points the entire game. They didn't score their 13 points until the fourth quarter. If they win this game, the division is done. They're win and go in. Now you have to beat the Falcons and the Saints have to lose in order for you to make the playoffs.
Yep.
You put yourself in a terrible situation by not taking care of business at home. Derek Carr, I mean, because we never know what we're going to see out of the New Orleans Saints on any given week. There are some weeks they look like this where you're like, yeah, that's a good football team. And then there's the games like last week where they got beat down by the Rams. Derek Carr, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Alvin Kamara got banged up in this game, did not return. Jamal Williams, leading rusher for the team. Juwan Johnson had a little bit of a coming out party for him as both their tight ends actually had touchdowns, Juwan Johnson and Taysom Hill. Baker Mayfield, this is kind of the conversation we always have about Baker Mayfield. He has good Baker, and then he's got bad Baker. This is the definition of bad Baker. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Rachaad White, 42 yards on the ground. Trey Palmer, Chris Godwin all had touchdowns in this game. And shockingly, Mike Evans held it out a touchdown in this one. He only had 3 catches. He only had 4 targets in the whole game. I don't get that.
That is very shocking. That makes no sense. That's asinine. 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that's the Baker that's been on 4 teams in less than 2 years. All right, that's the Baker that got shipped out of Cleveland. That's the Baker that the Rams said, yeah, we're gonna take our chances on old Matt Stafford when he comes back. Carolina said, thank you for your services. We'll send you on your way. All right. This is the Saints team I had winning the division, right? Did Derek Carr throw any picks?
No.
No turnovers.
Totally clean. No turnovers on New Orleans whatsoever in this game.
Like, come on. Like, I don't understand the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde act by the Saints. I don't get it.
Especially at this point in the season, like you kind of have to know who you are at this point in the season, and we still don't know exactly who they are, what they're about.
Right. So if I just feel bad for a team like the Eagles or somebody like that, like it's like you're gonna have to get a road playoff game because somebody has to win this division. Somebody has to win it, right? And like you said, bro, like it's ironic how with Baker Mayfield, contract extension talks start up, then all of a sudden you go out, you lay this egg, and it's like now you got folks saying, how the hell you gonna extend him when this is one of the biggest games of the year and you need him to perform, and he doesn't, right? So you can argue that Baker Mayfield struggles with expectations. Right? There's something to play for. You need him to step up, and he doesn't. It's unfair, kind of unfair to him, but at the same time, hats off. Like you can't take nothing away from the Warriors.
I mean, this is a results-driven league. I mean, this is a game you had to win or secure your playoff lives, and you fumbled the bag in the biggest game of the year. And that will be held against you, and it should be held against you.
And it's hats off to New Orleans for coming because they also know it's at stake. It's hey, if we lose,
I mean,
the they,
we're talking about a whole overhaul of that entire coaching staff. Probably Derek Carr not returning next season. Like this, a lot relies on the Saints making the playoffs this year, and the pressure they rose to the occasion.
and this is and you also got to look at the Saints. Like this is why we brought Derek Carr in. This is why we brought him in. Like Derek Carr has never had a defense this good, right? He's been to the playoffs. I don't know how many times. He has no wins. None of that really falls on him, right? It's not some of it is, but most of it isn't. And if you're the Saints, you're like, hey, this is why we brought you in. You won this week. You win next week. We in the playoffs and we get a home playoff game, and that dome is one of the toughest places to play.
I think they still need Tampa Bay to lose to Atlanta, but don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. Moving on from this game, we're going to swing into the NFC or stay in the NFC. San Francisco 49ers got bounced back off of what was an abysmal performance against the Baltimore Ravens. They beat the lowly Washington Commanders 27-10. Brock Purdy bounced back off his throw in a 4-interception game with 2 touchdowns in this game. Chris McCaffrey got hurt. Will not play it next week. I'm pretty sure that's just precautionary. I'm not sure how much more needs to be said.
Yeah, obviously, I think Washington is gonna. It's an overhaul coming, new ownership. They want to get all of their people involved in the building as quick as possible. That means new coaching, probably means new quarterback. Riverboat Ron, if this is it, hell of a career. I don't think he's going to retire. I'm just talking ish. But I think his career in Washington is done. I don't know what happens to Eric. I don't know what happens to Eric Bieniemy. I don't know what happens to Sam Howell. But if Eric Bieniemy is out of Washington as well, you can, if you need a coordinator or you need a head coaching candidate, you look at what he like. It's the simple argument, right? If you want to say
their offense was cooking for majority of the he was the number one. He had the lead of the league in passing yards for 3/4 of the season until the wheels fell off at the end.
Like if you want to hold, he had Pat Mahomes or it was Andy Reid. You want to hold that against him? Fine, be my guest. David just brought it up. He had Sam Howell leading the league in passing for a majority of the season.
While Sam Howell was getting killed on one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL.
But also Washington, if you want to move on from quarterback, you want that number 1 overall pick, yeah, Scary Terry and your pick and the future first. And we'll do some business. Have fun.
I agree. Moving on, we're going to spend not a lot of time on this game either with the Battle of the Cats going soundly to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Carolina, the only time that they score was when their owner throws things at other plans.
He was also fined $300,000.
$300,000 for that. Yeah, David Tepper's having a good time. 26-0 Jacksonville. Didn't even have Trevor Lawrence. CJ Beathard didn't even throw a touchdown in this game. And you get blanked by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Josh Allen had a field day in this game. 3 sacks for Josh Allen, the other Josh Allen. 3 sacks, three tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits. The dude was just feasted on your offensive line. Bryce Young threw a pick. Completion percentage a little better in this game than it has been in last few weeks. So kudos to him there. But yeah, he got killed in this game. And I don't know what else really needs to be said.
Yeah. Other than David Tepper, you just bought the team, dude. You just bought the team. You just got here. And bro, don't think your money is above the league. If they feel like you are bad for business, they will get you the fuck out of here quickly.
I mean, the Panthers had one of the worst owners in the league, and the guy who buys him might be worse. Like, it's crazy.
They will get you, like, bro. Like, if your ticket sales are 45 cents,
We could probably get
49 cents.
we could probably get home seats for every Carolina Panthers game for like under $5. So if you want to go to every Carolina home game for last year,
Bro, like real talk, like if we all were to travel to Carolina for every home game, the most expensive thing we would spend would probably be flights or gas if we drove.
yeah, yeah, because there sure as hell wouldn't be the seats. We probably get to go to every game for under $5 for the entire all 8 games.
Like, if you're Carolina, like bro, I don't know what you do. You fired your coach halfway through the like again. Once again, I like if I'm a coaching candidate, if I'm Ben Johnson, if I'm what's who else is even out there?
I mean, the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, even though he's maybe coaching his way out of being one of those headliners.
Well, like if I'm Ben Johnson, if I'm Sean Desai, if I don't even understand what's going on with that situation. If I'm like any like really, if I'm anybody, if I hell, if they even if I'm Josh McDaniels, I wouldn't even touch. I would not touch the Carolina job with a temp. You all the money in the world could not make me want to coach the Carolina Panthers because I would need David Tepper to be completely hands off. You want to be Jerry Jones without the Jerry Jones accomplishments. Like you can't, no, you can't do that.
Moving on from this game, we're going to swing into Lamar Jackson sewing up the MVP with his 5-touchdown performance against the Miami Dolphins at home as they win this game 56-19. Tua Tagovailoa, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Devon Achane, leading rusher for Miami Dolphins is Raheem Mostert, did not play in this game. Tyreek Hill, leading receiver for the Miami Dolphins. Lamar Jackson, as I mentioned, 5 touchdowns. He threw 3 incompletions in this game. Melvin Gordon had a rushing touchdown in this game. Zay Flowers had a touchdown. Justice Hill had a touchdown. Isaiah Likely had 2 touchdowns. Charlie Kohler had a touchdown. And Patrick Rashard, the often not used fullback, also had a touchdown in this game as the Ravens just wiped the floor with the Miami Dolphins 56-19. TJ.
Again, this all these like I can't help but think back, and some new chick came. I don't know who she is. Some Fox NFL person who says that Lamar is not the MVP. McCaffrey is because I want my quarterbacks more quarterbacky, whatever the fuck that means.
What does that mean?
Exactly. Like look, like you dead ass. Like when we get off here, go on YouTube, type in "I want my quarterbacks more quarterbacky." A video will pop up, and it's exactly the face you're making. That face, the one you're making right now. You make that face the entire video because it's like, what WTF are you saying? Like you want your quarterbacks more quarterbacky? What like I don't understand why people hate Lamar Jackson. I don't get it. Like he comes out of Louisville, excuse me. He comes out of Louisville, wins the Heisman. He declares for the draft, and he gets told you might want to think about changing your position. No one told Paxton Lynch or no one told Paxton Lynch or Brock Osweiler to go to tight end because they're 6'7". Oh, but he's fast. Lamar's fast and he can run. That don't got shit to do with running routes. Lamar ain't never ran a route. I've never seen Lamar Jackson run a route, but he's fast. Okay, and Brock Osweiler's 6'7". No one ever still told him to switch to tight end. I don't understand the goalpost moving on Lamar Jackson. He's won 1 playoff game. No, the Baltimore Ravens, the team. Is it a team sport or not?
Yeah, he doesn't play defense for them usually.
Is it like the quarterback? Like they want to use they only use quarterback wins when it's beneficial for them. Justin Fields is 10-27. Is it a team sport or not? Right? Is it
talking to another guy who has the goalpost constantly being moving for him? Justin Fields over there. But yeah, Lamar Jackson is going to win the MVP. He deserves it. Miami just
if I'm Miami, if I'm Miami, I can't take him seriously. I just can't.
You beat the Cowboys, and then you get beat down by the Baltimore Ravens.
You probably shouldn't have even beat them. Like call a spade a spade. You got. I mean, every game requires a little bit of luck, but because Dallas did their offensively, Dallas did what you want your team to do. You go down, you get the go ahead touchdown. The one defense, arguably, you cannot play against the Miami Dolphins because of how fast they are. Is man. What does what is his name? Oh, why is his name escaping me?
Dan Quinn.
Yeah, what does Dan Quinn do that last drive? Man up, like bro, no, you can't. You just can't do it. You got your ass.
I mean, it's almost as bad as having playing prevent when you're only up by one touchdown.
Like, and on the down and on the downside, like not only did you lose this game, you lose Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, that's tough. Done for the season.
Oh.
Moving on from this game, we get the AFC South on the docket as the Houston Texans beat down the Titans 26-3. Any takeaways for you in this game?
Again, you won't know what you have until you won't know what you have unless you gotta let these guys play. Will Levis is definitely being. I think he got knocked out this game.
He did. Yeah, banged up. Because he was getting killed.
And once again, they went to Ryan Tannehill. Like, if I'm Malik Willis, bro, get me out of here. Like, please. For my mental health, get me out of here. I gotta go. Like, how can I showcase what I can do if I'm not given a chance to show? That's it.
Moving on from this game, we got the rematch of a Super Bowl. Man, TJ, you want to feel really old. So I was running the podcast with Izzy last week when we were doing the preview show, and I was like, oh yeah, that Super Bowl between these two teams, the Steelers and the Seahawks, it was like 10 years ago. And Izzy's like, man, I feel like it was like 20 years ago. And man, we had to look it up. Man, it was like 16 years ago. I'm like, man, I'm feeling really old right now. Like I was like, man, it was just like 10 years ago. The Steelers and the Seahawks were playing in the Super Bowl. You know, you had Matt Hasselbeck. You had Matt Roethlisberger. 16 years ago.
I was a sprite 13-year-old.
Oh man, I had a lot of potential at 19.
Yeah, I was in seventh grade. Fun fact: Antoine Randall L. His cousin was my seventh grade teacher.
That's crazy. But Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin will not have a losing season again this year. 17 in a row. 30 points for them, the 23 for the Seattle Seahawks, and they have put themselves in a very tough spot. Not only they have to win their final game of the season, which I guess it's against Arizona, so you could do that. But they also Seattle. I'm pretty sure they play Arizona next week.
I'll keep talking. I'll look it up.
But not only do they need to beat Arizona, which ask the Philadelphia Eagles how easy that is. They also have to have the Packers lose, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose, and the Falcons lose in order
They do play Arizona next week.
In order to make the playoffs. So they dug themselves in a hole. This is a Seattle team that was like 8-3, 7-3, 7-8. Like they had a pretty good record at one point this season, and they have just let things slip away with injuries and just bad football play, really. And they're going to have to make a lot of decisions in the offseason. But Mason Rudolph came in and played pretty well for the Steelers again this week. Najee Harris woke up and had over a century mark for him, 2 touchdowns for him. I think this team as a whole had over nearly 500 yards of total offense in this game for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. And another thing, they did not have a turnover.
So the the Seahawks have pretty much hovered around 500 for majority of the season. It's just when you play when you have they beat the Eagles right on what was that?
I mean they were 6-3 at one point, and then they lost 4 in a row, and then they won 2 straight against the Titans and the Eagles, and then they lose this game against the Steelers.
They were 6-3, and then you lose 3 straight to good 3 straight. You lose 3 you lose 3 straight to 3 good teams. You beat Washington, but then you lose to the Rams, the Niners, and the Cowboys. 4. The Rams, the Niners, the Cowboys, and then the Niners again, before you beat the Eagles. So it's to say 6-3 with that upcoming schedule. Like, yeah, it was bound to be more bad than good during that stretch to begin with. Yeah, this is you control. Like, you don't even control your destiny. You need to win, and you need four other teams to lose.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's a tough break.
It's pretty tough. But Pittsburgh, they put themselves in the driver's seat here. I know what the scenario is. We could talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. But to continue having the revolving door at quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers and still churn out winning seasons is why Mike Tomlin
I'm just
is
at
a
this
first
point.
ballot Hall of Famer.
At this point, my time was like, "Hey, I don't give a damn as long as I win. As long as we win. As long as we win."
But yeah, they put themselves in an opportunity to make the playoffs and have a maybe.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When Mike Tomlin was winning games with Duck Hodges, his coaching pedigree should have stopped being questioned right then and there. Correct, right or wrong?
Oh, 100%.
Like when you won games with a guy named Duck Hodges, not his real name, of course. Duck Hodges. Duck. You get called Duck on a daily basis. Your coaching pedigree is cemented. You won games with Devlin Duck Hodges as your quarterback. I don't even know where Duck Hodges is right now. He probably off somewhere duck hunting. That's where he got the name from.
All right, so the only way the Pittsburgh Steelers can get in.
Come on. What got to happen? What needs to happen?
Okay, so there are a couple scenarios. If Buffalo were to lose and they were to beat the Ravens, they would get in. And then if the Jacksonville Jaguars were to lose, they would get in because one of the Colts and the Texans. Another scenario is if the Colts and the Texans were to tie, the Steelers would also get in. So
that made my brain hurt. God damn.
There's a lot of scenarios.
So
a lot of stuff going on.
So Buffalo needs to lose. And they need
that's just one of the scenarios. Like if Buffalo gets in, they make the playoffs if Buffalo loses.
That's what I'm saying. So Buffalo loses, they beat the Steelers, they get in.
They got to beat the Ravens.
And they beat the Ravens, they get in. And then you said two more.
So yeah, and then if the Jaguars were to lose, and either the Colts or the Texans were to win that game in Indy, they would get in as well.
Next game.
So, moving on from this game, we got the battle in the AFC West against the battle of the backups, which has been a common theme here in 2023. Los Angeles Chargers, they lose to Denver Broncos 16-9. Man, so crazy. Just real quick, I know you don't play fantasy, but so that decision by the Chargers to kick that field goal on second down, like after they clocked it, right? They were going down and they were down by 10, and they needed a field goal and a touchdown to tie the game. They clock it on second down and they kick the field goal, and then they try to get the onside kick. I was up by 1 point in this fantasy matchup to go to the finals against a buddy of mine, and he had Gerald Everett, right? So if Gerald Everett catches another pass in that game, I would have lost. And they kick the field goal, they don't get the onside kick, and the game is just over. And I'm like, no way.
Okay. So this is our first time talking. We didn't broach the Sean Payton, Russell Wilson stuff, did we?
Me and Izzy touched on it a little bit
last
week during the preview. During the preview show, but we didn't do a dedicated show to it.
Y'all touched on it. I was not here. So let me get this straight. You went to, first off, you gave Russ the contract, right? You gave Russ that contract. Russ signed the contract as he was supposed to. You then went to him after a year and said, amend the language in your contract or we're benching you. And Russ rightfully said no because you gave me the contract. You then bench Russell Wilson, and Sean Payton comes out and says, I can't put 5 new linemen out there. I can't put 5 new receivers out there. Bullshit. Yes, you can. You just chose not to. First off, this is why fans who side with players always side with the player. Get your money, get all your money, get all you can while you can, because you got one of the highest contracts in NFL history, and they're just saying, fuck it. Oh well, it's cool. And on top of that, you told this man amend your contract or we're benching you while telling him to win you games, which he did. Which he was.
I mean, they were still in playoff contention even now. Like, like they're right there, 8-8. I mean, I don't think they can make the playoffs because they would need some things to really break their way.
Can you name a bigger slap in the face? Can you name?
Yeah, I think it really boils down to the fact that Sean Payton never wanted Russell Wilson in the first place.
He was taking the job.
I mean, he got traded. I don't know. It's going to be messy. The other thing is, so Denver, so if Russell Wilson were to get hurt in the next 2 games and not be able to pass a physical, his contract becomes fully guaranteed. I mean, it already is mostly guaranteed, but at least they can release him and not have to have so much dead cap money. It's just a messy situation. You know, it's crazy. So his extension hasn't even kicked in yet. Like they're gonna release him from his massive contract that made him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL before he even sees a nickel of it, and he's still gonna get paid.
Hey, that's the part I don't understand. Y'all want players to give y'all all the breaks and discounts in the world. And why are you asking for a new contract? This one isn't even up yet. Because at the drop of a hat, y'all could just be like, we don't want you here anymore. Bye. Thank you for your services. Bye.
Yeah, that situation is going to get super messy over the next month or so. I guess. I mean, I don't know. They're probably going to hope that they can trade Russell Wilson for some sort of. And I think there will be bidders but they're not going to get. They're going to get pennies on the dollar for him. Also, I mean, if I'm another NFL team, I'm not helping you fix the mess you made.
No.
It's eerily similar to the Derek Carr situation from last year. Even the backup quarterback that came in, if Jared Stidham, it's the same one that came in and played for Derek Carr last year when he got benched with the same kind of crazy nonsense. And I imagine if Sean Payton doesn't right the ship here, he's got probably 1 season to figure it out, or he's going to get fired too. Moving on. Kansas City locked up the AFC West with a victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. They win this game 27-17. Arguably, their defense is the reason that they won this game, as they just put the clamps on Jake Browning in that final drive in the fourth quarter. It was just one of those defensive performances that Rashid Rice also is having a coming out party in this game. Also, when Rashid Rice got tackled in that, if he had taken that ball into the end zone when he on that seam route, and when he tried to split those 2 defenders, if he hadn't gotten tackled there and took it to the house, I would have lost there too. So things work out my way.
Okay. So, fun fact: do you know how many times the Kansas City Chiefs won the AFC West?
8 in a row.
8? No, not this. No, not. I'm talking about not this year. Do you know how many they won total before they hired Andy Reid?
8. I don't.
No, 8.
Yeah?
8.
Oh, they won 8 in a row, and they've doubled since Andy Reid got there.
Yeah. So they were last in the division with the amount of divisional titles. Obviously, the Raiders, because they were the staple franchise in that division. They had 15, right? I think they had like 15. And then the Chargers were up there because Philip Rivers was winning divisions and Drew Brees had won a couple,
And
and
Dan
so on and so
Fouts.
forth. Right? Yeah, Dan Fouts and the crew, and Denver, obviously, for years, like the Elway years,
Peyton
so on
Manning.
and Peyton Manning, so on and so forth. Fast forward, you hire Andy Reid, you get Pat Mahomes. You now have the most divisional titles. You have 16. You won 8 in a row, right? That being said, Christian says it all the time. This team don't scare me. It's what's the so you remember how it used to be like you used to dread like watching those Patriots home playoff games. It's like Peyton Manning is good, but he ain't beating New England in Foxborough
Yeah,
or
yeah.
or somebody like that. It's like I don't have that feeling with Kansas City no more. And it
I
could
mean,
be
their defense is excellent right now. But
the defense is excellent, but also keep in mind this is the same team that lost a game to a guy that didn't even throw for 80 yards.
he didn't complete a pass after the first quarter.
That happened.
They didn't score an offensive touchdown. They still lost.
They still lost. Um, like that's like and Rasheed Rice. Yeah, he if I'm Kansas City, so what's his name? Oh God, what is his name? Oh, what is his name? Not MVS, but
Sky Moore or
no,
Kadarius Tony.
healthy scratch.
Yeah,
Kadarius
I
Tony was a
mean,
healthy scratch. So Rasheed Rice has established himself as, hey, you can go to me. Like you don't have to like just look for Travis Kelsey. Establish that rapport, establish that confidence with me that I'm gonna come down with this ball and throw it to. They have 40 drops as a core. 40. I think they lead the league in drops.
I can't imagine any team has more than that.
Yeah, and the Bengals. Uh, don't get me wrong. I love trash talk. I love it just as much as the next person. Jamar Chase and whoever else was talking. I forgot who else. What it was.
Jarius Sneed, I think.
Okay, well he plays for the Chiefs. Yeah, but between the two of them, I don't mind that. But if you're on the Bengals and you talking ish right now, you do understand that once you talk ish, you gotta back it up, and you didn't back it up. You lost, and you're going home. Right? I don't want to hear nothing in the off season about we had our quarterback, man. No, but no, shut up. You was talking you was talking crazy, knowing that you didn't have your quarterback. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Next game.
To the final game, we swing into Sunday night football, and one of the most head-scratching coaching decisions I can remember in a long, long time by the Minnesota Vikings, benching Nick Mullins, who, yes, threw 4 interceptions in that game against Detroit, but also put you in a position to win that game. You start Jaron Hall. He's abysmal in the first half. He threw a pick. You put Nick Mullins in the second half. By then, it was already just too late as you're down 23-3 going into halftime. Green Bay scores again. They score again. They kick a field goal in the fourth quarter. You don't score a touchdown until the fourth. You lose this game, and your season is finished. And all Green Bay has to do now is win a game against Chicago, and they're in the playoffs. Jordan Love played well again in this one. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Aaron Jones had over 120 yards receiving. And Bull Melton was the leading receiver for the Green Bay Packers with 105 yards and a touchdown. Jaden Reed had 2 touchdowns in this one. I don't understand the decision to bench Nick Mullins. Yes, he didn't play, he threw 4 interceptions, but he gave you a better opportunity than Jaron Hall, making his second career NFL start in a game you had to have.
This is coaching decisions like that is what gets you fired. Coaching decisions like that is what gets you fired. I don't know what Jaron Hall showed you in his first start. I don't know what Jaron Hall showed you.
He didn't even finish his first start.
Exactly. I don't know what Jaron Hall showed you in practice for you to be like, Jaron Hall, you're our guy. We're going with you. No, this is what gets you fired, Kevin O'Connell. This is what gets you fired. And like you said, when the decision to put Nick Mullins in at the start of the second half, damage was already done. You weren't coming back from 23-3. You weren't coming back from that. And on the flip side, on the Packers side, same scenario as last season. Win, and you're in. Same scenario. It was a much improved Detroit Lions team that came in. They punched you in the mouth, and you didn't answer. Same scenario. You have an improved Chicago team that is very capable of punching you in the mouth. Right? You dropped the ball last year. And maybe that was like Aaron Rodgers saying, "Hey, I'm out. F y'all. It was nice. It was fun. I'm on my way out." Jordan Love, can you answer like expectations, pressure? Can you answer the call? Bears ain't playing for. Well, I mean, I ain't gonna say the Bears ain't playing for nothing. They playing for a lot. But as far as like playoffs and stuff, we ain't got nothing to play for. And Detroit relished in the moment of saying, "Hey, we're not going to the playoffs, and because we're not going, damn it, they ain't going either."
Yeah, the Bears needed that game on Sunday to end in a tie for them to have an opportunity to make the playoffs. That did not happen, obviously.
Also, on the flip side with the Packers, that first maybe like the first month, you could see, quote unquote, the handcuffs on Jordan Love, right? Certain things had to happen for those handcuffs to be getting taken off, a la Aaron Jones getting hurt, certain receivers getting hurt, certain linemen getting hurt, so on and so forth. It was almost like the coaching staff was forced to be like, "All right, kid, go play. You show us what you can do. You gotta let us we gotta let you do what you do." Right? And it was kind of like that. I think the game that kind of kickstarted it was that comeback against New Orleans. Like, you're down 17-0. Nothing, absolutely nothing is going right for you. And all of a sudden, you made some plays, and the Saints need a field goal to win, and they miss. Right? If you're Jordan Love, way to battle through the little adversity that you did have, because I've been saying it all year. You had no choice but to be good. You couldn't have come out here and struggled, because they're going to look at that and be like, you sat for 3 years, you learned from one of the best, you know the offense, you have a rapport with all of the guys. Why are you struggling? And if you're on the other side of that, it's, well, he sat for 3 years, he has a rapport, he learned from one of the best, he shouldn't be struggling. It's just surprised if you're on that side. It's just surprised no one that Jordan Love has 30 touchdowns.
10 picks. I mean, he's been really good this season. But yeah, that's been our Week 17 breakdown. We're gonna give out some game balls before we get up out of here. For me, it's going to Kyron Williams and his 3 touchdown performance as a member of the Los Angeles Rams. He should be for sure in conversation when it comes to Offensive Rookie of the Year. TJ.
CeeDee Lamb, bro, like 230 yards. Like, what's that one thing you always say? Like, once you reach a certain number past 100, shouldn't it be like, hey, we should probably double that?
Yeah, right.
Now, it's different if he finishes with like 130, because 92 of that came on one play, right?
No, he had 12 catches in this game. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like, if he had 130 and you subtracted 92-yard bomb from that, that's like, I don't know, like 60-something yards. Math ain't my strong suit. No, he finished with 230 on 12 catches. So taking that 92 yards away from him, he's still well over 150.
Yeah.
Like you said, bro. Like, after a certain point, it's like, we should double this guy. Cam Sutton Poor Cam, son. They left him out. To...
He had a bad day at the office, and they did not help him out at all. And Detroit Lion fans had a bad day at the office too. NFL, by the way, yeah, officiating needs to get better. Just whatever you got to do to fix. We cannot have this many conversations about officiating in one season ever again. We just can't.
It just makes no sense. Like, and you know it. Like, you know it's a problem. You know it's a problem.
Yeah, but we'll be back here tomorrow when we break down week number 18. Is it the final week of the regular season? Thank you very much for checking us out here at Prime Sports World on the first podcast of 2024 as well.
I apologize for making this run a little bit longer than usual. That's my fault. That's my fault.
It's all good, man. We'll be back here tomorrow. You have a good night. And TJ, what do we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, kind sir, and we got some snow flurries the other day. And I'm just glad they weren't sticking to the ground because that's the kind of snow I like. Like when it's snowing, but it melts before it hits the ground, or it lightly coats the grass, and that's the snow I like.
We'll be back here tomorrow. You guys all have a good night and stay safe out there. Take it easy. Peace out, brother.